What's going on, guys? Gomes here back again on another MLB The Show 18 Diamond Dynasty video. And first, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support recently. We are on pace to hit my goal of 5,000 by September 4th. So thank you guys so much. I really cannot thank you guys enough. And if you guys have yet to subscribe, I really would strongly encourage you to do so. A lot of Diamond Dynasty content that you guys really will enjoy coming in the near future. So make sure to jump on the ride. A lot of content coming your way. But getting into this video, this is a video that I kind of wanted to make, but also kind of didn't, because personally, I'm a person who still enjoys this game. You know, I think people sometimes get mixed messages. I'm not leaving. I'm not gonna make other content. MLB The Show is going to be the focus of this channel, as always, of course. So, you know, put your worries to end. I'll not be like doing Madden videos. MLB The Show is going to be the mainstay of this channel's content, but you know, I still enjoy this game, and you know, I've played pretty much every other MLB The Show game, so this isn't really a point of me saying like, oh, I hate this game or something like that, because that's just not the case. You know, this is me just expressing my feelings and just saying it how it is. And of course, we're talking about basically Immortal's kind of ruining or dying out, leading to an early death, rather, you might say, of MLB The Show Diamond Dynasty. And it's kind of becoming evident, you know, on Twitter. If you look, everybody's playing Madden. Well, not everybody, but you know, a large portion of the MLB community is going to Madden. And the reason for that is, it's not because necessarily, it is partly because they do think Madden looks good, but it's partly because they're just sick of MLB and they really aren't enjoying the game. And a lot of that has to do with the content, and a lot of the content has to do with the Immortals. So I drew up 4 points, 4 main points that I think are the league contributors to this topic, and I put them down on my phone, and I will be discussing all 4 of them. So I will be expressing my opinions as well as other people's opinions, you know, broad, you know, things that I've seen people say, whether it be on Twitter, Reddit, MLB The Show forums, whatever it may be, from both sides, from people that feel this way and that way about it. But without further ado, let's just get into it. And the first point that I have written down is lineup diversity. Now, it's weird because a lot of people pushed for the Immortals to be released, and I get why they did that, because you know, I don't think it was a good idea from the jump to have all of course, Dan Musial wasn't there right away, but I don't think it was a good idea for them to have all of these just, you know, listed here for them to not be released for months. That's just not the best idea, because everybody sees it and it's like, oh my god, you know, it's been like 2 months, when are we gonna see this? So I think if they wouldn't have shown it for a while, which also would have kind of not worked the best, because it would have been hard to, you know, show that these cards, you know, are gonna be in the game. But there's ways that you could have shown Ruth and Piazza are introduced to the game, rather than having, you know, the Immortals shown on screen the entire time. And personally, I was one of the people that warned, if you know, when these Immortals are released, because I had seen a lot of people were stacking them. They were already at 85%. They only needed the other program souvenir, and then they would have an Immortal. And that happened, you know, in a day's time. People unlocked Immortals, and now I think it took less than a week for somebody to get an all Immortal team. And to be fair, that is extreme grinding. You know, that is definitely not the majority. Most people, you know, I would say right now, if I had to guess, I only have 1, because I don't really try to grind for Immortals really that much. I did want to get 1 though, but I'd say the average, I would say the regular person probably has, you know, 4 or 5. Of course, it depends on many factors, you know, whether how much time you have, if you like playing the CPU, and studs, because I will say Pujols cost me like 200k to do just for first baseman jerseys and hats alone. That doesn't even include Frank Thomas, of course. Of course, prices are going down a little bit, so if you want to start getting Immortals, I believe like the hats, especially for Pujols, they're pretty much cut in half from when I bought them. So if you guys want to get on that, now is probably a pretty good time. But I warned you that this was going to happen, that you would see really the same teams, and you're not seeing everybody with all Immortal teams yet, but come like September, the people that are still playing this game, they're really gonna have the same teams. And that worries me just because personally I don't find it that fun to face the same guys. And I know the point, you saw Sanchez, Gallo, and Dozier the whole time. I didn't like that either. But at least those cards had weaknesses. You know, at least you could look at it like that. So if you want to look at a card like Gary Sanchez, now you can debate whether or not how important defense for catchers is this year, but he only has 38 speed and he only has 46 fielding. He is not good at everything. If you want to look at a guy like Joey Gallo, also for example, even though contact isn't a huge stat, with the way the PCI is, that his PCI is low, so it does take more skill to use Gallo because his vision is 13, his PCI is minuscule. If you're using a guy like a 90 hit 9 pitcher versus Joey Gallo, especially if it's, well, it doesn't really matter, he has the same contact pretty much versus both ways, but you get the point. Like, they have weaknesses, but then if you want to look at a guy like Mike Piazza, he can literally do everything. You know, he's even faster, he has, you know, decent defense, he has 86 blocking, he has tremendous contact and power. And then if you want to look at, who was I just talking about, Joey Gallo, look at a guy like Babe Ruth, he literally can do everything. Hell, he has 99 bunting, if that does anything for you. But lineup diversity is something I'm really worried about right now and continue to worry about. And next is kind of just not being exciting. You know, Joe Mauer came out and won. They did nerf this Mauer. I mean, I think he has 9 less power versus righties and a couple other stats that moved a bit, which you might think 9 power isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it is, especially for this reason. You look at this Mauer, 122, 106 contact, 83, 57 power. Then you look at these two catchers. You look at Mike Piazza, who has the same speed. He's got a little less defense, but you won't really notice it. Like I said, defense and catchers I don't find to be the most big deal, but he has more power versus righties, and he has double his power versus lefties, and he has the same contact. Nobody in their right mind would use that Joe Mauer over this Mike Piazza. If you have this Piazza already, there is no way, unless you're like a Twins fan and you like just to have, you know, your team's players in your lineup, there's no reason why competitively you would ever choose that Mauer over Piazza or even Johnny Bench, to be honest, which is very attainable. You know, if you look at Johnny Bench, yes, he has less contact, but his power versus righties, and that's his weak side, is pretty much the same as Mauer's strength, and he has 123 power versus lefties, which is, you know, like 30-40 more power than Mauer's best side. And he's got better defense, and he has about the same speed. And he can also play corner infield, the whole outfield, and catcher. The only places he can't play are the middle infield, second and shortstop. So that's just, I don't see many people excited for this Mauer card for those reasons. And I know POTM Carpenter came out and a lot of people are excited for that. But trust me, if this card could not, if he could only play first base, I don't think that many people would be too crazy about him. The reason why a lot of people want him and why I wanted him is because he can play second baseman. And if there was a better second baseman Immortal than Jackie Robinson, who is definitely the worst Immortal in my opinion, because he doesn't have power, people wouldn't be as excited for the Carpenter. But I hope they continue to keep putting out POTM cards that are usable and just other cards are usable, because like I said, having these one cards to rule them all, it kind of sucks out the life of any other cards they can bring out, because if you already have, you know, Albert Pujols, or if you already have Ken Griffey Jr., Vlad, and Babe Ruth, who in the hell could they possibly come out with that you would actually start over any of those 3 guys? Tell me in the comments. Moving on now, and that's just it's advantage. You do have a slight advantage, and I will say this, the one thing I will give MLB the most credit for is, out of 2K and Madden, I can't really talk about FIFA or NHL, I don't really play those games, but MLB by far is the hardest to have good players and win. If you look at a game like 2K, You know, if you have a team of diamonds versus a team of silvers, the diamonds have so much more speed and defense. And the thing about 2K, you don't have to play on-ball defense. A lot of bad people play off-ball. It doesn't take any skill to play defense on 2K, really. Basically, what you do is you just highlight someone else and have the ball handler go against an AI. And if you're going against a Diamond Kawhi with 90 defense or 95 defense and has, you know, low ball handling, low speed, they're not going to do anything versus them. So there I can say, yeah, you know, you definitely can, you know, pay to win. You know, your best players, if you have a diamond to silver matchup, the diamond's gonna win 9 times out of 10. And even Madden as well. If you look at even Madden right now, if you have a really good team full of like Tyreek Hill and Randy Moss who have 90 plus speed against like a silver gold team who, you know, their best corners are like 82, 83 speed, you can beat them over top on streaks pretty much every single play unless you're playing prevent defense. And once again, it's not as bad as 2K, but still it's the same way where you can have the best players and you're gonna win most of the time. MLB, I will say, yes, you can have Babe Ruth, but if you can't line the ball up with the PCI, you're not gonna hit it. And I know it's weird because the hitting engine is kind of off this year. I do know that, trust me, I do know that, but still, MLB is the best at that, where, you know, out of those 3 games at least, where, you know, you can have the best players and you can still have a chance. I've beaten Immortal teams this year. It is not like they are unstoppable, but it definitely does give you an advantage, because if they do square it up with a guy like Babe Ruth, there's a good chance it's going for a home run. So I will say that that's a smaller topic, but definitely one worth noting. And lastly, it just feels like there's nothing left. If you have like all the Immortals, definitely, what do you really feel like there's left to do on this game? Honestly, you know, ranked seasons, yes, you can get to World Series, but what happens after that? There's no more rewards after getting 900. You can get a guy with 900 rating and a guy with 2000 rating, if that's even possible, are gonna get the same rewards. It does not matter what rating you are. As long as you reach the threshold, the 900, you are going to get the same rewards. That's why I would love if they added something like Weekend League or other elements, which I will make a video on in the future, just how I think they could rework that. But there's really nothing to work for. You can play BR, which I think is really popular for that reason, where, you know, people are either tired of facing the same teams or they have all the Immortals, so it's like, well, I'll just play BR, stack some stubs, and I can try to collect like every card in the game. Because honestly, I mean, I've only collected one, of course, and I'll probably get Museo, and I might end up getting like Piazza. All I have to do is really, you know, do the exchanges and get the Johnny Bench thing. But honestly, it's like, what's there left? What is there left to do after you get the Immortals? Like I said, there's nothing, there's no cards except for Jackie Robinson, like I said, which there are definitely better second basemen. In my opinion, this Matt Carpenter is probably the best second baseman in the game. There's not really much else you can do, because these are going to be the best cards at their positions, including the Vlad, of course. You know, nobody's really gonna pale in comparison to this Ken Griffey Jr. who's got 85 speed, 99 fielding, 92 arm strength, 116, 125 power, and 110 contact both ways. Nobody pales in comparison, and he's a lefty too. There's not really much else that you can get. There's nothing better that's gonna come out. So that's just really my thoughts on the Immortal, like what the Immortals have done. I wish if they add this next year, they'll try to rework things, and I think if they do, they definitely will, because at least for me personally, it does suck some life out of this game, and I think it is a contributor. It doesn't necessarily do it, but it's something that leads people to it turns them off from the game. And I definitely see that. And I definitely see if you do enjoy the Immortal programs as well. For example, if you're, you know, a Yankees fan and Babe Ruth is finally in the game, or any of these guys are your favorite players and you can finally add them. Or if you just like grinding offline and you can get some of the best cards without spending, I mean, you do have to spend quite a bit of stubs. Like I said, it cost me 200k to get Albert Pujols. So it definitely is not free to get these Immortal players, nor should it be. You know, I'm definitely not one of those people that say, you know, it should just be grinding, because if they wanted to do that, they would have to have a much longer grind, because, you know, 200k, maybe not, maybe more like 100k I think would be a little bit better. Of course, like I said, the prices are coming down, so if you waited to do the exchanges, that's probably the smart idea, because now you can get all of them done for, you know, like 3/4 of the price. So that might not have been a bad idea, but that's just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments as well. Like I said, I am going to be sticking with MLB 18 until MLB 19 comes out, basically. And I'm excited to make content for this game. I should have a pack opening out tomorrow. Personally, you know, even though I do think some people are going to leave Diamond Dynasty and not play it as much, I still find enjoyment like it, and I hope they can start adding more content and more engaging stuff that people would like to see. You know, I hope they add some stuff and see stuff like this video and other people's comments and concerns, that they will, you know, expand the life of this game, because it really does have a lot of hope. You know, I think this game still has a lot of promise and a lot left in the tank. But if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you like down below. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and there you guys comes out. Yeet.